Hey guys, good morning. So while this is still fresh in my memory and I'm still in the period of time where this actually occurred, recently, I wanted to make a video about how I can't believe I'm saying this, manifested the reincarnation of my cat soulmate that died in 2017. And I want to say right off the bat that the idea of this happening had never occurred to me before it became abundantly clear that it had. So this story for me, and I've been saying this consistently throughout my entire channel, this story for me is a perfect example of how when you are not specific about something, the universe, I guess, I don't know, whatever it is that fills in, the parts of your desire that you don't specify, will do it in a way that you could not even conceive. Like, it will be so amazing. It will be so much more complete and better than you could have come up with your puny, tiny human brain. And so, the people that rail against the idea of manifesting the thing that they want or something better than that, it's absurd. It's totally absurd. The best thing that you could probably do, I think, is just go through your life being as unspecific as possible about the things you want and just allowing everything to like be created for you, since it's not like you and whatever's creating it are separate. It's either a higher aspect of yourself or it's something that knows you intimately and knows things that you want that even you're not aware of. This is a great case in point. So I had this cat soulmate for 18 years. She died in 2017. It took me about 6 months to get over it, for the grief to lift, I should say. And I think at that point, I was actually really enjoying not having any pets and the freedom of being able to come and go as I please without having to worry about something else's needs and not having cat hair all over me all the time and all of that. And so I just think I thought I kind of reached this point where I was like, I don't think I'm going to ever get another pet because, first of all, nobody could ever compare to this cat, and the idea of intentionally going and getting another pet, knowing that it would be like a 20-year commitment, that was just, I just couldn't, I don't know. It just wasn't something that I figured I would ever do again. Maybe when I got old, but then I was like, but when I'm old, then I could potentially die before the pet does. And then that would be a disaster. So I probably won't even do that. So that was where I was at with it. And it stayed that way for about 6 years. And then I was very sick in January. And I was camped out on the couch. I slept on the couch for like 5 days because I didn't want Matt to get sick. And so I just sort of sequestered myself in there. I wanted to be somewhere where there was a TV, and I didn't have a TV in my bedroom. So I was just kind of in there, just sort of miserable. And I didn't really want to hang out with any other humans, but I was kind of lonely. And I thought, man, there was a spark of desire. I thought, God, it would be so great if I had a cat right now. I missed my, cat that had died, and I thought, God, it'd be so great if she was here right now. So I had that one but it was memorable because I had not felt that in 7 years. I had not felt the single tiniest shred of desire to have a pet again. And if I had any moments where my mind even wandered there, it was so overshadowed by wanting to just be free, not have to worry about that, it just came and went. This was a moment of actually missing one of the benefits of having a pet. And so that's where I pinpoint the start of this whole thing, unfolding. I had that desire. That was memorable. Then at some point in the next few months, it might have been a week later, it might have been 2 months later. The timeline is weird, and I remember this happening very clearly. Because, every time I do something that's a little out there, I have a moment of saying, listen, are you crazy? I had this, I was laying in bed, it was late at night, and I must have been going through the end of my cat soulmate's life or something, because again, I was thinking about getting another pet and just going through all the reasons why there was no way in hell I was going to do that. And so at this point, I'm pretty sure that any like your loved ones that are passed on, and I guess even pets, I'm pretty sure that they can, you know, communicate with you telepathically, or that's not the right way of putting it. I'm pretty sure you can communicate with them just in your mind. And I said, I had just a conversation because I wanted to put this thing to bed. I don't know if I was thinking about it a lot. I don't remember thinking about it a lot. But I just said, okay, listen, to my old cat. I'm okay with it if you were my last pet, but if I'm ever supposed to have another cat, I need you to set it up. Because I'm not just going to go get one. I need you to set it up. Like, I very distinctly recall having that moment because I must have been uncomfortable with thinking about it and just wanted to kind of foist it onto somebody else. So I was like, all right, listen, her name was Grumpsy. Listen, Grumpsy, you're gonna have to set this up for me if it's supposed to happen, or if I should have one, or I could be happy having another pet. You're gonna have to set it up for me. And then I just completely let it go. Like, I don't think I thought about it again, because it wasn't too long after that I started sort of going down a huge rabbit hole with the state of the world and potential catastrophes that could be coming. And I distinctly at that point was like, thank God I don't have any pets that I have to worry about. You know, if I have to move, or if any of the conditions around me get harder, I'm really glad I don't have any kids or pets depending on me. So I was thinking that, I remember thinking that in like maybe the end of March. So then in May, 2 more things happened of note prior to the manifestation of a kitten. I said to Matt at some point, I don't know why I said this to him. He must have made a comment or something. And I said, am I really never going to have a cat again? Because he doesn't want any pets, or didn't want any pets. And I didn't really either. So this wasn't like a big conflict between us, but I said, like, am I really never going to have another cat again? You told me when we first met I could have a cat if I really wanted to. And he just said, I really don't want any pets. And I was like, I really don't either, but I don't know. I don't know why I said that. And then on Mother's Day at like 7 a.m, I was texting with my friends, Cecilia and Stacy, who are both legit mothers of humans. And I was texting about something else, and then one of them said, oh, hey, happy Mother's Day to the other. And I said, oh my God, I didn't even think of it being Mother's Day. I'm not even a cat mom anymore. I said that at like 7 a.m. on Mother's Day. At 11 a.m. on Mother's Day, my aunt texted me that there was a kitten in her backyard. And this is how much I did not want a pet, or was not trying to make this happen. I was like, oh, well, just take it to the Humane Society. Like, what do you want me to do about it? You know, I'm not in the market for pets. And so there was a back and forth where she just kept kind of like giving me details about it. And then finally she said, it doesn't look like it's old enough to be away from its mother. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to come take care of this situation, because clearly like my aunt's not going to do it. So I went, and there she was, this little tiny, adorable, oh my God. This little kitten was like, she was small enough that she was sitting under a hosta plant and meowing and meowing. And so I got some kitten formula and stuff. I fed her. And then my aunt took her to the Humane Society. I left her there. My aunt was like acting like it was my responsibility. I'm like, this isn't my responsibility. You know, it was Mother's Day. I had to go see my mother. And so, you know, it's just like, take her to the Humane Society. I don't know what to do. You know, I'm not in the market for a cat. And so the Humane Society wouldn't take her. They said, go put her back. The mother will come and get her. So that is what my aunt did. She put her outside back where we found her. And that was at like 4 o'clock on Mother's Day. And I woke up at 5 the next morning and I thought, I can't deal with the idea that that kitten might still be there and that the mother didn't come and get it. And I went and she was still sitting there. She had been there all night by herself, 3 weeks old, unable to regulate her own body temperature, all that stuff. I was just like horrified. So I took her and got her vetted and everything. And my intention was still to just adopt her out. I was looking for a foster to take her. You know, I've got a couple friends that are like into animal rescues and stuff. And they were like, okay, we found somebody, but they can't take her for a week. So can you just foster her for a week? And I was like, yeah, of course. And Matt was also on board with that, taking care of her at night. Because these kitten, like a little kitten like that needs like round the clock feeding and stuff like that. So within a couple of days, Matt was saying, well, you know, we could take the blinds down and put it, you know, whatever. He was like, we were going to keep her, obviously. And then she started to have a personality. Like at first, I did not think this was my reincarnated pet at all. Like, in fact, the first week I was thinking about going to my ex's house to get my old cat's food bowls just to use in the interim. And I could not do it. I couldn't do it. I was just like, those are Grumpsy's bowls. And, you know, when I actually thought about it, I was just like, no. Nobody else can use her bowls. I don't mean to be weird, and I didn't expect that, but I just had that reaction. I was just like, no, those are hers. I went and bought new stuff. So definitely at first, I had no clue. But then as this kitten got a little older, like 4 weeks old, she started having a personality, and she started doing stuff that reminded me so much of my old cat. And my ex, I had her with me at work all the time, and my ex and I worked together, so you know, he was seeing it too. He's like, oh, that's so much like Grumpsy. And it just continued. And like maybe a week after that, I just said, can this be her? Could this be her? And I had told him, you know, I had this conversation with Grumpsy that she would have to set it up if I got another kitten. And, you know, I was like, is that a thing? Like, do pets reincarnate? I started Googling it, like as if anybody has the answer to that. I couldn't believe how many YouTube videos there were about it, so I didn't watch any of them, but, you know, it's just like, wow, okay, there are people talking about this. Maybe it's a thing. There were a lot of people talking about, like, how to get your pet to reincarnate, which I would not recommend trying to do, because what a heartbreaking... I don't think that things go well when you do that. That's my opinion. It's the same thing like with the SP people. You know, when you're still hanging on to something that is gone, it does not have a chance to come back as something new and fresh. And anyway, I don't want to get off on that. I don't want to get off on that tangent. I just kept saying, like, can this be her? I must have said to my ex 100 times since Mother's Day, do you really think it's her? Is it really her? And, you know, it was interesting. I'm 100% sure it's her now. And here's why. I cannot remember, for the life of me, I cannot remember Grumpsy. I cannot remember her and what she was like, because she's here. Like, it's her. I can't explain it any better than that. It's like trying to remember somebody who's sitting right in front of you. How do you remember them? You know what I mean? You might have memories of times that you spent together, things you did together, but you can't remember something that isn't gone, you know? You certainly can't grieve something that isn't gone. And one of the things that's crazy about this is when I got Grumpsy, I got another cat, also Blammo. And Blammo died in 2010, kind of suddenly, and I felt so shortchanged by that death. I was like, you were supposed to live to be like 20. It just sucked. And I had like a 6-month sort of period of grief for that too. I thought I was having a midlife crisis. It turned out I was just sad about the cat. And then one day it just kind of lifted. And the same thing happened with Grumpsy after she died too. I had like 6 months where I was just, that time I knew what it was. I didn't think I was having a midlife crisis, and I just gutted it out. But in the other craziest experience of my life, one night, like maybe 9 months after Blammo died, when I was asleep, she visited me. And I know that also sounds probably weird and crazy, but she did. That's the only thing the only way I can think of to put it. I know the difference between a dream and what this was. She was there. I picked her up. I could, it was real. It was like I was in just another realm or something. And I said, "What took you so long to come and see me?" And I was holding her, and then creepily, this is not relevant, but all of a sudden, she started hissing at something behind me, with something very, very bad. I don't know what it was. And I woke up, and my heart was racing, and I just laid there with my eyes closed and like imagined surrounding myself with like a pink bubble or so. I don't remember what I did, but finally I calmed down, and whatever the thing was gone. This happened, so I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but after that day, I was never sad about Blammo again. It was so real. I saw her again. It made it really apparent to me that she wasn't gone. She was just somewhere else. And that, I don't know. It was such an amazing experience. It's the only one like it I've ever had. And after that, I don't know. It removed all grief. And this is very similar. Like, I cannot muster up the slightest sliver of grief anymore. And by the way, over the last 7 years since she died, I've had moments here and there looking at pictures of her and just remembering what a great, she was with me all the time. She was such a funny cat. She would always talk to me, if I said, "What are you doing?" she'd meow at me. She was just like, we had this relationship. And thinking about it, I would occasionally, I'd say like once a year, I would have a moment where I was really, really sad still. That's completely gone. Completely. It's like I'm trying to remember a meat sack, because the essence of the meat sack is in a different meat sack now that is animated and with me all the time. So that was how I really became convinced, was when I started trying to remember her. And the other thing is, by the way, my ex, who sees her, he sees her like 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I apologize. I just drank a Red Bull. He sees her like 20 minutes, 5 days a week. So they're not together much, but when he comes in the room and she sees him, she runs right up to him. He'll lay down on the floor. She climbs up on top of him, purrs, and, which she doesn't do that with anyone else, including me. It's just like those two were such good buddies. And it's just like she recognizes him and runs right to him. It's crazy. And he is saying the exact same thing. But another thing that's weird about this is that she doesn't look anything like, the two of them don't really look anything alike. They have some similarities in their face, like slightly. But if you put pictures of these two next to each other, they really don't look a lot alike. Grumpsy was like a light gray, tiger striped, but like all gray all over. She didn't have any weird markings or anything. And this new kitten, whose name is, I don't know, depending on who you ask, a bunch of different things. I named her Tuna Fish on the first day. I don't know if that's going to actually be her name, but she is like a tabby with spots all over, stripes all over, and they just really don't look anything alike. But when my ex and I look at this cat, we see Grumpsy. Like, we feel like she looks like her, even though she totally doesn't. Every time we look at a picture of Grumpsy, we're like, they don't look anything alike. How do we keep thinking that she looks like Grumpsy? And it's because like the animations in this cat's face, it's so crazy to say this, but like, if you've spent a lot of time with anything, any living thing, they have so many little nuanced, movements and expressions, and it's her. It's her. It's not like her. It is her. It's all of the same mannerisms. It's all the same little like little noises and stuff. It's crazy. It's her. So, What's especially amazing about this to me, sorry. What's especially amazing about this to me is that, like, I didn't see this coming. It's something that is so amazing that I can't even believe it's a thing. What this has done for me is remind me that you really have no idea what is coming. And sometimes something that is totally mind-blowing is coming, and it's right around the corner and you don't even know it. Like, the idea that the pet that I loved so much and lost has reincarnated. This is probably one of the best things that's ever happened in my life. And it's not something I ever could have conceived of happening. I'm not even sure it's something I would have said I wanted to have happen. And it just happened. So, you know, what else could be? What else could be waiting for you that you've never thought of? You know, maybe you have a talent that you're like the best in the world at, and you don't even know it exists yet, and you're going to discover it next week. There's no reason to think that's not going to happen. Crazy shit happens all the time. But so, just to recap, literally all that happened to bring this about was a spark of desire. And I guess, you know, the conversation that I had in my mind with my last cat, saying, I don't know how to make this happen. If it's a good idea for this to happen, I need you to do it for me. This is basically the manifestation process in a nutshell. Desire, intention in some form or another, and getting out of the way, which, you know, can be a lot harder to do than any of those other things. It can be really hard to stop injecting yourself into the process. But I have so many stories of this at this point. So many examples, like, of, I don't know. I think I'm intentionally or I think I'm unintentionally good at this in some ways, just because of this certain attitude of fucking off about things. People that have a stranglehold on their desire have problems with it. And of course, I have things in my life that I have a stranglehold on that aren't going well. It's that story for everybody, you know what I mean? But as far as these other things just manifesting for me, desire, intention, get out of the way. And a lot of the time, I think your true intentions you can easily be in denial about what those things are, and it doesn't stop them from happening. If you have the desire and the intention for something, it really doesn't matter how much you pile on top of that, or deny it, or ignore it. You're going to find it. You're going to find yourself moving toward it, which is really how a lot of this stuff happens. So anyway, I wanted to get that out there. And most of the pet reincarnation videos that I saw on YouTube were, dude, I swear to God. Most of the pet reincarnation videos that I saw on YouTube were not like this. They were just like, I'm a pet psychic and I communicate with pets on the other side, and stuff that might be a little out there, a little too much. I am a fairly normal individual, somebody who certainly does not spend like my time reading about reincarnation all that much. I think it is what happens with humans, for sure. I think there's too much evidence of that to ignore it, or I guess too much anecdotal evidence to ignore it. But it's just not something I ever thought about. I'm not somebody with like crystals and chanting circles and somebody who spends a lot of time dealing with the occult, even though I have this channel. I'm just somebody who has manifested a shit ton of stuff, some deliberately, some most in the way I just described, and maybe a little more deliberately than I just described, but without being super hyper focused on the process or the outcome or the desire itself a lot of the time. And so I'm just here sharing those stories. And so if you're somebody who like looked up pet reincarnation, you have no idea what this channel is, that's what it is. But so I would say, just to close this out, if you're somebody who is trying very hard to reincarnate a pet, quit it. Stop it. Grieve the loss. Try to deal with some of the mental things you have going on that are making it especially difficult to let go of this connection that you had. You're all right, and you're going to be okay without, you know, let go as much as you can. And eventually you'll get to a point where, you know, by the way, and also be open to like a new relationship with a new pet. If you want pets, I just didn't want them. If you want a pet, be open to a new relationship with a new pet, you know? But anyway, that's the best I think you can do. Be wide open to a new and wonderful experience. And if your pet reincarnates, great. But you can ask your pet to help, you know, do what I did. It's a 5-minute process. Is it even that long? 30 seconds? Just connect with a pet you love and tell them if it's a good idea for you to have another pet, to please get involved and help you. As crazy as it sounds. By the way, I got another kitten a couple weeks after that. I completely, intentionally, and deliberately manifested that. And that kitten is amazing. I love that kitten as much as my reincarnated one. The new kitten, the other kitten, is just, she is so adorable. She has such a cute personality. She is the friendliest cat. She is so dumb. Oh my God, it is the funniest thing. She is the dumbest cat ever. And it's just, which produces adorable and hilarious moments. And she is super affectionate, and they're just both great. And this is seriously, I think, one of the best situations that has developed in my life ever. These two animals are a total source of joy. The one has reminded me that amazing things can happen that you couldn't even conceive of. Things more amazing than you could conceive of can happen. And Matt loves them, and it's been a net positive, well into the net positive the whole time. They are kind of a pain in the ass, and they do need constant attention, but anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I would recommend asking your reincarnated pet for help rather than demanding or trying to manifest them to come back into physical form. If they are ready, and that is a good idea, clearly it will happen. And by the way, I meant to mention this before when I talked about Blammo coming back to me in a dream. For 7 years, I was just like, Grumpsy, can you please like come back and see me the way Blammo did? Like, I miss you. Can you just come see me? And she never did. And I was like, God, did she just like, maybe it was just me. Maybe she didn't love me back. She's like off running free somewhere, and she never thinks of me. It was kind of a sad thought. Little did I know she was going to literally come back and be my pet again. How crazy is that? I feel insane, so I'm going to end this video here. I hope it helps somebody.